Everyone specializes within a field. Whether it's our parents we're talking about or the likes of billionaire business people, everyone has their own field of study. As students, we are taught by subject specialist teachers in their respective fields. We do English, maths, and science, the humanities, arts, and sports. Our educational systems are designed so that we can experience how these respective fields coexist, yet differ from one another simultaneously, in order to make up all the different industries that keep the world running as it does today. However, there comes a point in all of our lives where we are told to choose between subjects to study. Our parents went through this process. Our year 9s and 11s are currently going through this process. If you haven't already, you will go through this process. But for what purpose? You're stood there, little 12 or 13-year-old, making career decisions that are going to impact the rest of your life. You can't expect someone to have a crack at, say, 10 different subjects for 3 years, turn around, say choose, and expect the decisions to be half decent. That is the mistake of our system. Thus, in order to compensate for this, they tell us to choose wisely. Don't choose a subject because you like the teacher, because your friends will be in the class. The list goes on and on. But taking into account the fact that the vast majority of students don't know any better than to choose based on such factors, sometimes I find it's a little bit unfair to have students focusing on a future that they can create. Thus, it may be better to focus on the now, fostering a love for one specific subject. If you put this into perspective, we all have our own subjects, whether it be in academia, the performing arts, or sports. We really do. You know who's good at football in your yearbook. You know who's good at English and maths, and you know who likes music. You also know that it is most likely that the people you have in mind right now love their subjects very much as well. This is what physics taught me. It's not about being forced into a lifelong career choice at age 12 and 13. It's about taking the time to foster a love for your specific subject now, rather than spending years and years floating around, mitigating the negative impacts of uncertain career decisions. But what does excelling at a subject mean? Whilst it is true that sometimes you have to fail now in order to pass in the future, does getting a good grade in an end-of-year externally assessed examination prove excellence? Whilst this does indeed show a very specific depth of study reached, it can't ever prove to show a conveyed emotional connection between the candidate and the subject, which is necessary. Because why would you not want to love what you do? Emotional connections are what binds society together. If you make a business learning deal between your own sets of effort and a subject of choice, that can hardly ever be as strong as fostering a love for learning it. Thus, supercurricular activities aim to give students this opportunity. Just like with co-curriculars and extracurriculars, which go beyond syllabi to develop holistic life skills, supercurricular activities go beyond the syllabus specific to a subject. This can be vital for university applications as it restricts your area of specialism as a student, and it can help guide you in your journey of choosing who you want to become. Just like with co-curriculars and extracurriculars, there are many organizations out there that offer supercurricular activities for students of a young age. Within our own community, I've seen activities in the past being advertised for STEAM, English Lit, even saw a musical there one year if needed. What's special about these activities is that it restricts students to pursuing their specific subject areas of choice, which ensures that the curiosity that is being nurtured with the candidates and students is subject specific. However, it is important to realize that while such programs can be beneficial in students' learning journeys, it's important to know that they also aren't a magic pathway towards fostering a love for your subject. Because despite the company's well-induced efforts, sometimes you can't put a price tag on true curiosity. The real supercurricular available to all is reading. Reading, all about your subject. Read around your subject, inside your subject, outside your subject if you get bored. Reading allows you to gain both pure knowledge about your subject and also become accustomed to alternate skills that you can add to your toolbox for university life and your future career. I remember the first time I came across a physics author by the name of Richard Feynman. He was a pivotal 20th century physicist, and the man really showed me what true curiosity was. He wasn't only renowned internationally for his work in the field of physics, more specifically quantum mechanics, he was renowned for his somewhat unorthodox, joyous approach to teaching his subject. But anyways, Richard Feynman taught physics in its simplest terms possible, putting it in words for everyone to read and enjoy. This approach is what hooked me in. Just by doing independent reading, I developed a personal connection with the author. The author became my own personal guide to approaching the subject in academia, because as I was reading, there was just me and him, his voice going on and on and on. But anyways, how do you prove that you've read something? You've already established that reading can be beneficial, but you can hardly prove you've read something by ticking it off on a checklist and claiming, I've read this. Because you see, if you've been pulled into your subject enough, you'll want to share your findings with the people around you. You'll want to share your findings with the world. So a very simple solution would be to write about it. Write everything you know. Summarize your learning without shame of how simple it may be. I've written over 10 full-volume, solid 5-minute long articles and had them published online. And I started off with the simplest of topics, the states of matter. Solids, liquids, and gases. But because of my fostered love for the subject, I was able to link it to what we were learning in class and academia with the GCSE syllabus. I was also able to link it to what other prominent people had said on the topic too. Say, John Dalton per se, the man who introduced the atomic hypothesis to science. I also was able to develop my own judgment on the states of matter, commenting on the GCSE syllabus's lack of emphasis on certain aspects of the atomic hypothesis. Now, despite the tedious levels of simplicity you have to go through, this, in theory, does prepare you for university-level research essays. Instead of jumping into things in your first year and having your writing feel forced, you will have done it already and will continue to do it out of love and passion for your subject. Overall, this technique of reading and writing develops at showcases a love for learning your subject. Through reading and writing, you can develop an interest in our respective fields in academia and find our own subjects. This guides us in our journey of deciding who we want to become. Then we can decide where we wish to pursue it and what specifics we wish to delve into, always referring to the reason to why we developed an interest in it in the first place. Finally, we can link this to a job, a major part of all of our lives, bringing about a key and final question. How will we, as members of a globally interconnected society, use this fostered love, passion, and expertise for the greater good of humanity? That is our choice to make.